So if you look at the numbers so far, the first 10 minutes clearly shows that Jio seemed to have been the pillar. The refining as well as the petchem end of the business has come under pressure. Gross refining number is something to watch out for from here on. 6.6 or 6.5 is what we were expecting this quarter. They've given just a shade lower than that, 6.3. So it's a mixed number. It appears like a mixed number, but the question now is, let me come to you, Naveen, with that. Do you think that the three segments, which because of the lockdown got fully captured this quarter, will they trough out from here? That's the question. What are your thoughts on that?
Numbers, Jio ARPU number stands out. So Jio ARPU at 140 rupees is clearly a bit on estimate. So that means that Jio business will continue to improve even in quarter two. As far as the other businesses are concerned, I think we will see things improving slowly. Right, petchem business should improve in the forthcoming quarters. Refining, I think, should start improving. Retail business, of course, there is a lot of scope for improvement as we are starting to unlock things. So I think from here on, things are more likely to improve only, right? So that's where we can see the business progressing from here.
GT now, if you look at the sum of parts valuation, targets of as high as 2,500 have started to pour in because different ends of the business are getting valued, different multiples are being given. What in your mind, if we talk about, roundabout multiples, how would you, how many times would you give the refining business, petchem business, the Jio platform, which is almost being seen as a technology business, would you give it 25, 30 times now? What would you give to the retail consumer business? If you could share some idea on that.
Yeah, so if you look at it, of course, valuation perspective, so we look at mostly the core enterprise value of each entity, right? So if you look at Jio per se, right, so what could be the value for Jio right now? Most of the valuation which has happened at around 5.2, 5.3 lakh crores, right? So from that perspective, probably there can be an upside from current levels considering there is money which has come in and probably an integration play. So you could be looking at around a 6 lakh crore kind of a valuation. See, current market cap for the company is around about 13 lakh crores. And of that, let's say around 6.5 lakh crores could be Jio itself. So what we are looking at is roughly around 50% of the company's value is coming from Jio, which means roughly 1,000 rupees is coming from Jio, right? Second business, which is essentially the O2C business, there have been benchmark valuations which have happened in the past, right? And there have been, of course, downward revision also. So now the question will be whether that valuation will settle at around 5 lakh crores or whether it will settle at 4 lakh crores. But considering the kind of deal making that we have seen in the past, so probably we could be looking at a valuation between 4 and 5 lakh crores. So let's say around 4.5 lakh crores. So that brings the total valuation to around 10.5 lakh crores of these two entities. Thereafter, what we have is the retail business. That's where I think the big question mark is what can be the value of that business, right? So, of course, people do talk about valuation of 6 lakh crores, 5 lakh crores and all. And that's how probably we might get to a value of 2,500 rupees per share value. But I would say that roughly in the range of around 2.5, 3 lakh crore is a reasonably decent value for that business. So, round about that brings the whole enterprise value to around 13.5 lakh crores, which is where the stock is currently. So I would say that roughly we are looking at around 2,100 to 2,200 rupees would be where I think more or less the fair value of the company should settle. Even this level, I believe that it's not very cheap. It's still factors a lot of work happening in Jio over the next 2 years, which is technology integration, platforms, bigger enterprise business, 5G revenues also probably, right? So many things have to work to get to the 6.5 lakh crore kind of valuation and even the retail business of 3 to 4 lakh crore. So that's where I think we are. 21 to 2,200 would be a more or less fair value for the company.
Shimani has also reacted to the numbers, saying that He's humbled and inspired by the exemplary commitment and empathy of the Reliance family during COVID-19 pandemic. Severe demand destruction due to global lockdowns have impacted our hydrocarbons business, which is clearly evident. But the flexibility in our operations enabled us to operate at near normal levels and deliver industry-leading results. Our consumer-facing businesses became the lifeline for individuals and businesses, with our retail and Jio teams working hard to ensure millions got essential goods and services through the lockdown. We completed the largest fundraise in Indian corporate history in this quarter. I thank millions of individuals who supported the rights issue and welcome all new partners in an exciting new phase of growth at Reliance. In fact, that sums up saying that the consumer end of the business led by Jio, then came in retail, because JioMart partly contributed, bulk except grocery, all the other retail portion was shut, so big hit over there. But their hydrocarbon business, I understand that they did not take big shutdowns. They completely focused it on exports and of course changed the mix, so put a reasonably okay front over there. From here on, the risk reward ratio wise, how do you look at the stock at this valuation? We all roughly know the way operational part of various businesses will go from here on. Naveen, would you like to take? You just spoke about that.